Hey, welcome back to the second part of the I can't remember what which one this is, 8 or 9. Anyways, we're going to finish up the painting of the Defiant 28 here. Mostly I still have to cut another stencil for the bottom, so there'll be a third part to this painting series. As you can see, I kind of cheated a little bit. I started applying the stencil already because this was a real pain in the balls to put on. I think next time I'll try vinyl. Although I found that vinyl doesn't stick very well to the, even painted EPP doesn't stick very well. So you can see a lot of little tiny bits and pieces of the hand, of the fist there. I think trying to get these little bits and pieces to stick on here and peel the transfer paper off the vinyl would be a royal pain in the ass. So I decided to go this way. And so what this was I cut this out on a vinyl cutter. And then it's basically just a negative image of the fist, right? Because I'm going to be painting it blue. And then I took this green tape and I sliced it into 1/8 inch wide strips, and I made a grid across this so that I could peel it up off of the cutting mat that I had to use for the printer. That took quite a while, but I think it'll be worth it to see the way this turns out. So anyways, I took that and sprayed some 3M77, just a really light dusting, right on the back of it. And then stuck it down, let that dry for a little bit, not long, maybe 5 minutes. And then I stuck it down on here, took off all the grid tape. And now you're all caught up. So what I'm doing is I'm masking off the area around where I want to paint. And this green tape is strong shit, so sorry for my language. It's strong stuff, so you don't really want to stick it down to the painted areas very tightly. And even doing that, it can tend to lift the paint. You can see that there, I had done some testing with some vinyl, and it did stick in some areas. But the paint adhesion is not great at this point, so you know, it can easily be lifted right off. So when it comes time to taking this stuff off, I'll show you a trick that I figured out. So I'm just going to continue masking off in the general area here. And I'm just kind of lightly. So this stencil material it's actually resume paper. It's just a thicker kind of paper. It's not quite cardstock, but it's thicker. I was using cardstock before. My wife was getting pissed that I was using all her cardstock, so had to find an alternative material. I'll probably go back to cardstock though. The stencils, I think, you know, if you were to buy a stencil off of online or something, like for instance eBay, it's like a really thin plastic material. I don't have any of that on hand, and paper stencils aren't the best for water-based paints because it soaks in. It'll tend to curl as it dries. But for this kind of one-time use, it works fine. And even when I did the sticker bomb on my prototype, I reused the same stencil probably like 5 or 6 times and then just made a new one. It's the joys of owning a vinyl cutter. You can cut a lot of different stuff. So what we're going to do here with the color of this fist is going to be it's called phosphorescent blue, so it's like a pearl blue. I don't know, I guess you can kind of see the pearl in that paint. It's really, really nice in person. But what we're going to do to make sure that we get a good, vibrant blue color is we're gonna paint it white first. We're gonna paint the entire thing white here. So fire up the compressor. And same as before, where we're going to be, we're going to put a couple coats on there and at least get a decent, it's not really a primer coat, but a decent base coat of white. Okay. And I'm really modulating the paint flow out of the gun at this point. I'm not going full blast like I did with the red, because I want to control where I'm putting the paint and kind of the overflow too. The overspray, I'm sorry. So that's it for that one. I'm going to dry that coat now. These lighter coats tend to dry really quick too. Nice. If anybody wants any of these stencils, just hit me up on Facebook. There's other companies you can get them from too, like Ninja Wraps will do them. He's really good at it. He's got a whole professional setup. He can probably give you better stencils than I could cut, but doesn't matter to me. Sometimes as you're putting the coats on there, before you hit the next coat of paint, after you dry it and before you do the next coat of paint, just come along and press your stencil back down, because like I said, because you're putting paint on one side of the paper only and then drying it, that paint is going to want to shrink just a little bit, and it tends to curl the paper up a little bit. Plastic stencils won't do that, obviously, and maybe someday I'll figure out what kind of plastic stenciling material is good, but at this point I don't really care. Like I said, this stuff works great for this one-time use. You just have to be aware of its limitations, like the curling and stuff like that. That's all. I'm sure there's some airbrush artists out there that could do this by hand. Not me. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, how it's like glossy and then it goes dry. There, you can kind of just see that right on the edge there. You can watch it, literally watch it dry. It dries that fast. And part of that is also too because I thin it with this, I thin the paint 50-50, so 1-to-1 mixture of this Windex and that paint. So the Windex has a little bit of alcohol in there too, so that helps it dry even faster. For those of you that may not know, YouTube has a playback speed setting. You may want to set this to 2 times this real speed. I think probably, I mean, it's not pure white yet. If I wanted that to be pure white, I'd probably do like, you know, 10 coats, but that was what, three coats. So I'll probably just stop there and just move right onto the blue. So just gotta change the color out, and it's quick. Oh, this is gonna be awesome. Okay, here we go. I know I'm going all over the place here with the spray pattern, but oh well. At this point I want to be done with the blue. I start getting a little bit impatient. I think I'll do one more coat and then that will be it. And I'll show you my trick for removing this paint. Hopefully I have enough of it left. I'm going to have to go get another can of it. You know, to be honest with you, I think that's all I'm going to do for the coats, because now that it's dry, I can really see how good it looks. Once it's laminated too, the laminations are kind of like a gloss coat, like a clear coat over the paint, and it really tends to bring out the colors of the paint. At this stage, they may look a little bit dull. So I think I'm gonna run out of this stuff, but this is my secret weapon here for getting the paint off. So what you do is you turn it upside down, and it sprays out the liquid. So this is full of whatever kind of propellant, not CFCs. It says on here. I don't know what kind of propellant is in here, but you turn it upside down, and it comes out as a very, very cold liquid. Let's see if we can get enough to get maybe a couple pieces off. So you don't need to do a lot. So I just do a little bit, and you can kind of see how it's crusting up there. And then, so what that does is it freezes the adhesive on the paint, and it just comes right off. Most, I'm sorry, it freezes the adhesive on the tape. So most tape adhesives, no matter how strong they're at, don't work at the temperatures that this liquid is at. This is like, you know, probably, you know, minus 200 degrees as it boils off. Don't quote me on that number. And so far, yeah, see, oh, no, there we go. There's still some left there. And so far, in my experience, it hasn't done any damage to the paint afterward, you know, underneath. See, so I didn't get that one cold enough. So, and I'm out. So that's it for now. I'm going to finish getting this off, and I'm going to go run off and get some more of my dust in the can. And then I'm not going to film it, but I'm going to apply this stencil to the other side and do the same thing. White first and then blue. Here's just a follow-up to the rest of the painting. As you can see, I've finished all the painting here on this wing, except for the black lines here. So it's all stenciled. This was just taped off and sprayed. Same way though, you know, taped it off and stenciled, sprayed white, and then blue over it just to make it pop and stand out. The pro colored paints don't tend to cover very well unless you use a lot of it. And I didn't want to be painting for an hour, 15 coats. So this is just a Sharpie oil-based marker. If it'll focus on that, come on. There you go. So I think it's, oh no, this one's water-based. I've used the oil-based too. I don't think it really matters. Like here's an oil-based one that I've used on wings too, the silver one. So I just freehand this. It's good enough. And if you want to get crazy, you could go and get like pinstriping in an auto body store, or break out a ruler. I really don't think that's necessary for a wing like this, but to each their own. So have at it if that's what you feel you want to do. This looks great underneath laminate. One of the drawbacks, though, is that it tends to not make as fine a line as you want in some cases. So you're kind of limited in that regard. But I find if you make really light swipes with it, it actually, and you have a new one with a nice rounded tip on it, you can actually make a line about a 1/16 inch wide if you're really careful. You can see on that fist there, I was able to line all that stuff out without obliterating any details. So I'm right-handed, so I tend to work from the left all the way out, so I don't smear it everywhere. I have screwed that up in the past, though. Still have a piece of my. Watch it pull this red up here. I'll be pissed. Nah, good enough. So this is it on this. This will be the end of the taping. I mean the painting. Taping. Mind is not with it today. This will be the end of the painting on this wing. And then we're going to move on to laminating. And then after that, it's final gear installation. I'm hoping to be able to have all that done tonight. Maybe go out and maiden this thing tomorrow with the new owner. We'll see. So I haven't put a lot of black on this, but that's going to be one of the colors. All these kits ship with black winglets. So it's generally good to have black in mind as part of your color scheme if you want the winglets to not look out of place. But on my prototype, I just got some white chloroplast. It's like 3/16 chloroplast or something like that. And I copied the winglet pattern out onto it and cut them out by hand and went and painted those so that they would kind of match. It's kind of a pain in the ass though, because I wanted that same kind of glossy look, and I had tried a pair with some clear enamel clear coat over this paint on those winglets, and it looked like shit in it. It weighed a lot, so I went and cut a new pair, painted them again, and then laminated them with 3mm lam. Oh well. Definitely not a professional video production here. So when this starts running a little bit dry as you're dragging it along here, you just give it a little press on the paper. Don't press it on the wing. You press the nub in there in order to get some more paint to flow out onto it. If you press it on the wing, what can happen, and it's happened to me before, is that a whole ton of it comes out all at once and makes a big pool of paint right on your wing, and it screws it up. You can kind of see here, here where I had to wipe some paint off because that's where I was pressing it before, and it got all, just a big blob came out. That would have wrecked my day if that happened on the wing. Would have had to dry it, paint a shite ton of white down on there. What do you think? I think that's going to look pretty sick, huh? I like to do these bigger contrasting color patches so that you can kind of tell. I do fly these line of sight. Some people don't. It doesn't matter. I guess if it doesn't matter to you and you're going to fly at FPV, don't paint it anyways. But when I paint something, all my airplanes are painted, and I like to do as good a job as I can on them. But I like to have radically different kind of patterns on the top and bottom, especially on these wings, so that you can tell their orientation when you're flying line of sight. I know some people don't fly line of sight at all. That's their prerogative. I think it's an important safety aspect of flying FPV to be able to fly line of sight. So, all right, I'm going to cut this one off here. Thanks for watching. Next episode, we're going to be covering the airplane with laminate. Thanks for watching.